Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show with SportsbookReview.com. I'm your host, Lee Martin, here to talk some UFC, and it is a great day to talk some UFC. We have a fight card currently going on right now for UFC Fight Island 8 with Chiesa versus Magny. We have the prelims going on, so we can't really talk about the main card just yet. And then we're going to talk about this upcoming weekend. We have UFC 257 with Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, and we're all so excited to break down that entire main card. Now let me chill out a little bit because I'm getting ahead of myself. But Dave, how are you today? I just wanted to see how your prelim fights are going.
Not too bad so far. Looking 5-2 in predictions so far. A couple unexpected outcomes in terms of how the fights are ending. But we're looking good so far, man. I just want to get to the main card. It's dragging through these prelims. It's a bit early on in the day, and my kids are driving me a bit loopy. So.
Right. Very good. I woke up forgetting that it was so early. It was like 8 a.m. Bam, prelims are starting. I'm just like,
yeah.
I need to turn this on. But how about you, Matt? How are the prelims going for you so far?
It's kind of shaky. I haven't gotten to take a full look at the prelims because it's a pretty big day here in the United States because NXT has a fight pit match tonight. I don't know what else is going on. I'm preparing for that a little bit later on. Sit down, have a couple of snacks. But excited for the main card. But more importantly, it is UFC 257 Fight Week. The two top fights are banana pants.
Yes.
I can't wait. Let's go.
I'm so pumped. So let's go ahead and just get into our main card breakdown. Now, first up, with women's strawweight, Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Ribas. Great fight. Via BetOnline, Ribas is -310 and Rodriguez is +260. Dave, I'll start with you for your breakdown for the first fight on the main card.
Yeah, first of all, this is an extremely good matchup to kick off this main card, I must say. Marina Rodriguez, 33 years old, 5'6", not average for a strawweight, but that brutal Muay Thai striking would never have anyone predicting that she began MMA in 2013. So we're looking at her 5th year as a professional MMA fighter. She is graded in Muay Thai. She competed amateur in Muay Thai and she skipped going pro, just went straight to MMA. She loves to strike no matter where the fight takes place. She'll strike off her back on the ground or she will punch you up on the feet. She struggles when taken down. But, like I just said, she was still throw in them positions, elbows, and she remains active off her back. The problem with Marina, her takedown defenses, it's got a lot to be desired. And she's going to come up against Amanda Ribas, who is a lifelong martial artist. She was born into the sport. Her father's a Muay Thai and judo teacher. She is a winner of countless judo and jiu-jitsu tournaments, championships, titles. She won the IMAF world champion at flyweight and jiu-jitsu. She has put all the tools together. She began MMA in 2014. She has excellent striking, offense and defense. I mean, it has took her quite a while. You can look back and she did suffer a knockout loss, but that is her just transitioning her Muay Thai skills over to the MMA environment. And look, the one lone loss on her record, it's years ago, and when you compare her skills now, it's not comparable. It's two different versions of Amanda Ribas. I mean, she's only 27 years old. I think the knockout she took, she must have been 22. She's young. She has the skill set to be a champion, and that's real talk. Her takedown ability is also diverse. She's got body locks, trip takedowns. She is excellent on the ground, BJJ. She's a black belt in BJJ. She's a judo black belt. She made quick work of Paige Van Zandt, armbar the outer area, made quick work of Emily Whitmire, and then her 2 other wins in the UFC, unanimous decisions over Mackenzie Dern and Randa Marcos, which, if you follow the sport, you'll know that they're 2 names that you want to get a win over. The pick itself, I mean, it's tough. We've got 2 Brazilians facing off. It's not a volleyball match, although, if they advertise this as 2 Brazilian females with a potential of grappling next to McGregor and Poirier, I swear the pay-per-view numbers would definitely increase. The accolades of Ribas, you see, prior to her arrival to the UFC, were high. She's always been a fighter. She was born into this. I think the main difference that we're going to see this weekend, you're going to see a fighter who began her career in 2013, and then you're going to see a fighter who has been doing this since the day she was born. I'm taking Amanda Ribas. I'm not sure how she gets this one done. I have a feeling that, how tough Rodriguez is, she hasn't been finished thus yet, and I think she can continue that because she is a tough girl. So I'm looking at Amanda Ribas by decision for the first fight on the main card.
Great. Well, how about you, Matt? Do you agree with Dave, or do you have a different take for the first fight?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, that knockout Dave was talking about was against Poliana Viana in the Jungle Fight promotion down in Brazil. Ever since then, she has been tearing up the UFC. Dave listed all of her accolades, but taking a look at a common opponent, both of them have fights against Randa Marcos. Marcos split a draw with Rodriguez in Rodriguez's UFC debut, and she's coming off a loss to Carla Esparza, which was another split decision. Marina Rodriguez will do enough to convince at least one judge she won the fight. I think this fight goes to a decision. I think we get a split decision here, but I'm aligned with Dave. I think Amanda Ribas gets the win here and gets to 11-1.
Beautiful. So if you guys do want to get on that fight again via Bet Online, Amanda Ribas is -310 and Marina Rodriguez is +260. Let's move on to the next fight. We have lightweight. Matt Frevola versus Ottman Azaitar via Bet Online. Azaitar is -156 and Frevola is +136. Matt, I'll continue with you for your breakdown and pick for the next fight.
All right, Ottman Azaitar, if you're putting up the running list of great MMA names, that is one of them. May not take the week because we had some great ones yesterday. But he's got 5 straight wins by knockout. 4 of them were in the first round. His biggest win to date was against Karma Worthy back in October. Only 2 of his fights in his 13-fight career have gone into the 3rd round. He's got 8 first-round knockouts in his career, 10 overall knockout victories, 2 submission wins, and 1 by decision. He's my pick here, but Frevola, he's not a chump. He's not a slouch. He spent over half his career in the UFC. He started out 0-1-1 inside the octagon starting in January of 2018, but beat Jalen Turner at UFC 236 and Luis Pena in his last time inside the octagon back in 2019 down in Tampa. He's got 1 knockout win on his record, 3 submission wins, and 4 decision wins. I feel like this fight's going to end early. I think he's going to get Azaitar's going to get his 9th first-round knockout, and he's going to send Frevola, who hasn't fought in over a year, to the back of the line at lightweight.
All right, well, how about you, Dave? Do you want to add on to what Matt has to say for Frevola versus Azaitar?
Yeah, this is another fight I love. I mean, see, Ottman Azaitar, they love this guy in the UAE and Morocco. He's like the Middle Eastern Conor McGregor, you could say. You watch his old fights in the homeland, boy, this crowd, they go wild for him. He was the former Brave champion. He's got the ability to finish the fight quick. Undefeated. I think he's undefeated 13-0 or 12-0. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He's won the title.
Yeah, he won the title in Brave. He decided not to defend it. He went up a weight class to welterweight. Now, bear in mind, this is a guy who's 5'8". Going up to welterweight, he was that brave. Went up, beat the crap out of that welterweight, and then before Brave got to throw him into anything else, the UFC signed him up quick. He's come over here. Overhand right, night for Timu Pakalan, and then it was Karma Worthy attempted to swing in the pocket with him, and he paid for it in a big way. Azaitar, boom, knocked him out, and here we are. But it's Matt Frevola. I did doubt Matt Frevola as a fighter when he first came into the UFC, debut knockout loss. But it's hard to ignore him now. He's turned that around. Frevola, he's got a potent grappling offense, and he's got the power to knock his opponent out the same way as Azaitar has. But in all fairness, if we're talking striking offense, we're gonna have to favour Azaitar. He's gonna bring it this weekend, especially back in Abu Dhabi. I think the jiu-jitsu advantage we could give to Frevola, really, for me, that's the only path for him to win this fight. Obviously, you know, a flash knockout from out of nowhere, but Azaitar's striking defense, it's up there. It really is. He's really got the skills to go far, I think, and there's a reasonable price on him this weekend. If he comes with another impressive knockout, you're going to start seeing them 300s, 400s piled on him in his next coming fight. So yeah, I actually like Azaitar straight up bet this weekend.
Beautiful. So again, if you guys do want to get in on this fight, again, via Bet Online, Azaitar is -156 and Frivola is +136. Let's move on to the next fight, and this will be a great fight. We have women's flyweight, Jessica Eye versus Joanne Calderwood. Via Bet Online, Calderwood is -113 and Jessica Eye is -107. Now, Dave, I know you love Jessica Eye. I'm pretty sure she had some health issues over the past year. So I want to know what your breakdown and pick will be for this fight.
It's the opposite. It's Jojo. Former Muay Thai champion, first Scottish female fighter to compete in the UFC. She retired from Muay Thai in 1992, transitioned to MMA about 8 years ago, and since then, she's been fighting, you know, the most elite women that are out there in MMA. I'll just never forget her fight with Rose on Tough. You have to go back on UFC Fight Pass and check the old Toughs, Rose versus Joanne Calderwood. What a fight that was, and I've been a fan of them two girls ever since. It's actually a shame that Calderwood missed her title opportunity. She was lined up for Valentina because we know Shevchenko cleared out everyone in that division in the top 5, and there was Calderwood. Okay, and then she decided, instead of waiting, she's going to take a fight with Jennifer Maia, and consequently lost that, and then lost her position in getting that title shot. So that's a shame. But Jojo, her obvious attribute is her Muay Thai. She's comfortable striking with the majority of this roster. I don't think she's going to fear striking Jessica Eye. Jessica Eye is a boxer. She loves to strike. But I think, you know, the difference maker in this can be the kicks from Jojo. It's a tough matchup to predict. There's a clear issue for Eye, and that's her takedown defense and her ground game, which she always tends to steer away from anyway. Boxing is her realm, but I feel like Jojo is going to be the better fighter in both areas, striking and on the ground. Jojo's got jiu-jitsu. She's more efficient with her grappling. She actually likes to grapple. And she offers up a different striking aspect with her Muay Thai. Eye's not going to be faced with her simple boxing combinations. She's going to have to deal with the legs too. She's going to have her lead leg out for her boxing, and then Joe's probably going to kick it away. That's what I see happening in this fight. So I'm going to take Joanne Calderwood by decision. And, you know, the line's close. The money's coming in on Eye. Maybe wait till fight day. We could see Calderwood in a dog position because the money is coming on Jessica Eye. She's the more known, more popular fighter. So I expect people to still continue putting money on her, not knowing too much about Joanne. But for me, it's the Scottish lady, Joanne Calderwood.
All right. Well, how about you, Matt? What's your breakdown and pick for Eye versus Calderwood?
I want to pick Joanne Calderwood, but I'm looking through my notes here, and I'm bouncing back and forth in my head. Both of these fighters face off, and it comes back to a common opponent question. Katlyn Chookagian. Both of these ladies have fought Katlyn Chookagian. Jessica Eye got the win. Joanne Calderwood got the loss. She's 1-2 in her last 3. Her only win as of the past couple of fights was at UFC 242 against Andrea Lee. She went to a decision against Lee, went to a decision against Chookagian. Last time we saw Calderwood, it was a first-round submission against Jennifer Maia. You know, no knock on Calderwood for getting tapped out by Maia, but she's got notable losses to Calvillo and Jessica Andrade. Her biggest wins inside the octagon, outside of that Lee win, were Courtney Casey, Valerie Letourneau, who was in Bellator. I believe she's currently retired, and Ariana Lipsky. Conversely, Jessica Eye is a streaky fighter, so this is a hard fight for me to predict because at one point she went on a 4-fight losing streak, losing to, in order, Miesha Tate, Juliana Pena, Sarah McMahon, and Betch Kalea. But she's 4-2 in her last 6. The only, her most recent loss was that loss to Calvillo and a loss to Valentina Shevchenko at UFC 238. But in that run, defeated Viviane Araújo, Caitlin Chukagian, as I said, and Jessica Rose Clark. I'm staying away from this fight because this one, there's too many intangibles here that make these fighters so similar in how they got to this fight that it really doesn't give me an advantage of looking at which one has the edge. I don't know who has the edge going into this fight. Calderwood, her striking is a big plus for her, but Jessica Eye, she's a member of the pro wrestling fraternity, so you know what, a little bit of it touches my heart a little bit. I'm staying away. I think this one goes the distance here. I would not be surprised if Jessica Eye gets the win, but if you're looking to place a pick on this fight, I would err with Dave on this because this fight is there's too much going on here for me to have a solid pick.
All right, well, there you guys have it. Again, if you want to get in on this fight via BetOnline, Calderwood is -113 and Jessica Eye is -107. Let's move on to the co-main. We have lightweight Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler. Via BetOnline, Dan Hooker is -133 and Michael Chandler is +113. Matt, I'll continue with you for your breakdown and pick for the co-main.
Oh, have we been here before? A highly touted free agent making his way finally to the UFC after years of build-up, anticipation, dream match scenarios. It's like when Sting finally showed up in the WWE. It's that moment of like, is this going to be awesome or is this going to be Ben Askren 2.0? We don't know. That's kind of the appeal for this fight on Saturday night. Let's take a, for those of you who have never seen Michael Chandler before, if you're brand loyal, if you only watch the UFC, obviously this is his UFC debut. He's a 3-time Bellator lightweight champion. His most recent loss of the title was to Patricio Pitbull, but his last win back in August at Bellator 243, he dusted up a UFC legend in Benson Henderson. And he's got wins against Brett Primus and Patricky Pitbull, one of the famous Pitbull brothers, twice. And, of course, former UFC lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez. 9 wins by knockout, 7 wins by submission, 5 by decision. Has been knocked out 3 times, never been submitted. 2 losses by decision. Now, Dan Hooker, who is more well-known to UFC fans, has a really solid resume, but Michael Chandler has held gold at 155 before. So you've got to take a look at, he's used to the spotlight. It might have been a bit of a dimmer spotlight in comparison to that or what my ring light is giving off today. I'm really looking opaque on the screen, but that's beyond the point. Coming off a loss at Hooker to Dustin Poirier back in June, but before that he defeated Paul Felder and Al Iaquinta by decision and knocked out James Vick. So this is a really solid resume against a guy who's lost to Edson Barbosa, Jason Knight, Yair Rodriguez, and Maximo Blanco, which sounds like a Lucha Libre fighter, and has wins against Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller, Mark Diakese, Ross Pearson, and others since joining the UFC. He's knocked out 10 of his opponents, submitted 7 of them, 3 by decision. If I'm Michael Chandler, I'm keeping this fight standing. I'm not going to the ground against Dan Hooker because they're too similar in the fact that they love going for submissions. Both of them have 7 wins by submission. Their records are nearly identical in how they've gotten victories. And also, both of these guys have been knocked out before. Hooker only once. He's lost by decision 6 times. But Michael Chandler has yet to be submitted. So Michael Chandler may have some huge brass ones and may try to go to the ground here. But if I'm Chandler's corner, I'm erring against it. I think this fight goes to a decision, and I think Michael Chandler gets the win. I think he might get the win. It'll be 10-9 across the board, but no offense to Dan Hooker, but I think Chandler gets the win and shocks a lot of people on Saturday night.
All right, well, how about you, Dave? Do you agree with Matt, or do you have a different pick for this fight?
No, I'm on the same side as most people. I actually applaud somebody for taking Chandler and having the nuts to do that because he does have the talent to get the job done. He's the most significant 155er outside of the UFC. That's why he's now in the UFC. I think the problem might be the pressure, man. Just look, I know he's been in high profile fights, but this weekend with Conor, your debut UFC fight, we know that they're more than likely going to make the winner of this fight face the winner of Conor Dustin for the lightweight title. So with that type of pressure against a dangerous striker like Dan Hooker, I'm not as confident in Chandler as Matt is, but When it comes down to skills and ability, it's no secret that, you know, Chandler should wrestle in this one, use his wrestling offense. He does have knockout power, but it's just simple kickboxing combinations that he uses, which, you know, Dan Hooker comes from City Kickboxing, and they are some of the elitist strikers. They have some of the most elite strikers on the UFC roster. So messing with that gym in the striking realm is not something you want to do. And Hooker's faced the wrestlers and defeated wrestlers on Chandler's level. He's good at maintaining his distance. He's really good at sprawling the takedown, or even defending takedowns with his knees, because he's got nasty knees. And I could visualize, you know, Matt was saying about, you know, that thing around, you know, the hype and coming to the UFC. Ben Askren got kneed by Jorge Masvidal very quick, and I could see a similar thing happening. Not so quick, but, you know, Chandler going for a takedown and Hooker just throwing a nasty knee. I think there is a good chance that Hooker will give up a takedown, because Chandler's no joke. All-American in college, all them accolades from wrestling, he's got them. So when it comes to grappling, I think Chandler's the clear dominant guy. If the fight goes down that path, the current odds favouring Hooker, and I think they should favour Hooker. Chandler has proven his worth outside of the UFC. He's beat Benson Henderson. That's probably the closest you're going to get, but this is a Benson Henderson that had to leave the UFC a long time ago because his time is up, you know. I think Dan Hooker's going to leave the octagon victorious this weekend, and I really want to see Dan Hooker versus Conor McGregor, because if anybody has the striking skill that matches up well with Conor, I really think it's Dan Hooker out of all of these guys. If Conor does come through and finish Poirier like a lot of people believe and like he believes, I think that's the fight to make, Hooker McGregor. But yeah, Dan Hooker to win. I'm not sure how, because Chandler is a tough dude. Is this a 5-round fight, or it's a 3-round fight?
It's a 3. I think it's a 3.
Well, in that case, this is favouring Dan Hooker more, the fact that it's 3 rounds too. We know he doesn't like 25-minute fights. He's going to excel more in a 3-rounder. Yeah, I have to take Dan Hooker, but I'm not sure I'm going to be running to bet this one. It is a tough one, a sneaky one that's going to could catch a few people out, and Chandler could surprise us this weekend, that's for sure. But I do lean Dan Hooker to win this one.
Great. Well, again, if you guys want to get in on the co-main via BetOnline, Dan Hooker is -133 and Michael Chandler is +113. Did I say that? Yes, 113. Now let's move on to the main event, the moment we've all been waiting for. We got lightweight Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Via BetOnline, Conor McGregor is -310 and Dustin Poirier is +260. Dave, I'm going to continue with you for your breakdown and pick for the main event.
Yeah, you know, probably one of the easiest predictions to make, one of the easiest to research. Look, if there was a blueprint on Conor McGregor available, we know that Cowboy Cerrone probably wouldn't have got damaged by Conor's shoulders this time last year. Poirier is going to need to be on top of his game, boy, because avoiding the paths that McGregor wants to take and preventing that chase that Conor's going to give, yeah, it's going to be so hard for him. Game plans, they sound great, but in practice, they can be a lot harder. And unless Dustin Poirier can either wrestle McGregor or remove the lead leg of McGregor, I think it's going to be a very frustrating and, unfortunately, an eventual knockout loss for the Diamond this weekend. Now, to remove Conor's lead leg, it's going to be so difficult. Other than that, he's got wrestling. But how much power is Poirier getting from his weak foot? He's getting none, because I've done the research and I've looked. He can't kick with his left foot. He's not very good. He has, you know, on occasion through it, but it does nothing. It really does nothing. So McGregor's lead leg, I think that's safe. I really do. Poirier is too slow. Even if he did magically have some great left kick, I just don't think it's going to match McGregor's speed and reactions anyway. So I think McGregor's going to be able to avoid that tactic if Poirier wants to go down that path. Now, should Poirier want to wrestle in this fight, McGregor is not accepting them takedowns. He doesn't accept them. It was hard for Khabib, the ultimate, the elite Sambo wrestler, to utilize his wrestling on McGregor. And Poirier is just not a wrestler. He has got a wrestling background, but it's average. And we're back in the big octagon. To take Conor down, you need a cage. Taking him down in the center of the octagon is going to be near impossible. Dustin Poirier hasn't been able to do that against lesser opposition. He doesn't even like to do that. He's a striker at heart. He likes to box. He's a striker. So I don't think he's going to go down that path either. Now, one of McGregor's most significant offenses is his defense. He's got a wide stance, great hips. He's constantly moving, so it just makes it really hard to hit him. One of the best examples of how to take McGregor out was probably Diaz 1. Go back and watch Diaz 1. He has landed probably more strikes on Conor than anyone else. And one of the things he did, what did he do? He was taking away the lead leg of Conor. Diaz can use his left leg, which is good for him. Poirier can't. So yeah, it's going to be really, really tough to even hit McGregor, I believe. Just finding that correct position and range is going to be an absolute struggle. He's going to block Poirier's jabs coming. He always puts his right arm out, extending that just to find that range. He uses his kicks to gauge the range too. And as soon as he gets that range, which he usually gets very quick, he measures it real quick. His punches that are landing, they're not just touching their opponent. The opponents are not rolling with the punches. They're going straight through them. And that's why when McGregor hits 1, 2, 3, that third strike is usually the fight-ending strike because they're so precise and they're going at the perfect time that they're unable to handle it. He dominates the spaces and then lands precise punches and just rarely misses the button. His left hand is it's probably the single most dangerous weapon in his arsenal and one of the most dangerous weapons in the UFC. And no matter how much people go over it, they know it's coming. It is disguised so well with a mixed verse of attacks, kicks, everything. He puts everything into his striking arsenal. People just don't see it coming and they can't stop it. He's going to win this fight inside the distance. This price is gone. I managed to get I think it was minus 125 a few weeks ago. These lines just keep going now because the money's coming in on him. He's the heavy favorite for a reason. I'd bet McGregor probably all the way up to minus 400. So I think he's going to slowly but eventually piece Dustin Poirier apart, most likely in the first round. Don't think he's going to do it in 60 seconds. I don't think we'll see an Aldo 14-second knockout. But I do think we will see Poirier on the ground and the referee pulling Conor off him.
Great. Well, how about you, Matt? What's your breakdown and pick for the main event?
Well, my breakdown's going to pale in comparison to the work of Dave just there. Good Lord, sir. He when it's a Conor fight, this man gets into the minute details. I wouldn't be surprised if he's checking their Weight Watchers to see what they're eating for breakfast. Well, when we take a look at this fight, I have a ton of notes here that I'm going to use Saturday on Combat Culture to call this fight. But for me, it comes down to focus. Heading to this fight, legal issues aside for Conor McGregor, if you've been reading Bloody Elbow, you saw that another situation has come up for Conor McGregor. But when we have a focused Conor McGregor, he is the most dangerous man inside the octagon. He is... Since the loss to Khabib, since returning to action last year, has been locked in, has been focused. We don't see the wild Conor McGregor. He's not throwing guardrails. He's not going after buses. He's not trying to instigate anything. He seems more focused. He seems more subdued. I think he seems more grounded now than he was in the Mayweather period in between his double title wins and his loss to Khabib. I think that loss to Nurmagomedov really grounded him, really set him on a road to figure out what he needed to do to be better. And I think that he's going to get the win. I don't know. Someone was asking in the chat about asking Dave if this is going to go over 1.5 rounds. It's like predicting a Tyson fight. You don't know. You don't know how long it's going to be. You know a lot's going to happen. This is not going to be a boring fight. This is not going to be middling for 5 rounds. This fight's going to end early. I'm predicting Conor McGregor wins by stoppage. But I'm not going to be surprised if Dustin Poirier pulls a Nate Diaz. I will be more surprised if Conor McGregor doesn't pull it out before championship rounds.
Well, there you guys have it. So if you guys do want to get in on the main event, via BetOnline, McGregor is -310 and Poirier is +260. Now, before we do close out, I just really quick want to ask you guys, and I'll start with Dave. Do you have a top prelim fight that you are looking out for?
Yeah, I won't go crazy as I did in yesterday's show, but the main one that stands out for me, it is the most juiced. Movsar Evloev, he is going to destroy Nick Lentz. If we want to talk about locks, there is your lock right there. I'm not saying he's going to do it within 15. I don't know. Decision, maybe. But them odds, perfect for one half of a parlay. Lock it up because Evloev is not losing. And then Mahmoud Muradov, Mayweather's only MMA signing. His back, I love him too. You can get close to even straight up on him. So that's a bet that I'd look at too. But check out my Twitter for the rest of the picks, and I'll have them dashed out on Saturday or before Saturday.
Yep. How about you, Matt? Do you have a top prelim fight that you're looking out for?
I'm going to go with the 205 boys. I'm going Khalil Roundtree Jr. and Marcin Prachnau. That and the Juliana Pena fight. Juliana Pena is an interesting sort anyway, and she's facing Sarah McMahon. I think those two that are leading off the main prelims of the 97,000-hour card that is UFC 257 on Saturday. That one's going to be those are going to be my prelims to watch on Saturday night.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's all we have for today's main card breakdown for UFC 257 Poirier versus McGregor. If you guys aren't following the guys on Twitter, definitely give them a follow. You can follow Dave at @dmannion_ and Matt at @mryan consulting. And then while you're at it, just give SBR a follow at SBR Sports Picks. And if you would like to find more breakdowns and picks from all of SBR's UFC experts, you can go to sbrpicks.com/UFC or just click the link in the description below. And yes, you will find all of Dave's articles there. And I always advise following the guys because they do post updates with their picks and whatnot. So yes, go give them a follow. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I wish you all the best of luck on all your wagers, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.